And back at it again with the live one for all you Bi-Conics wrestling fanatics out there on the YouTube land. And welcome to another Beat the Clock TV review edition for AEW Collision. I am your guest host, Mikey, who gets the honor and privilege to review AEW Collision for this week. Your usual hosts, Adolfo and Alice, are currently on assignment elsewhere for the next couple of weeks, so it's going to be me and maybe a couple special guests for the next couple of weeks. As much as I miss Adolfo and Alice, I'm glad that they are on assignment elsewhere because they're enjoying themselves, and I will hold down the fort until they come back. This week's episode of Collision, I actually really enjoyed this week's Collision. I thought it was a great time. There was a great matches. There was one segment in particular, though, I kind of felt dragged on a little long, but I'll get into it. But overall, I thought it was solid. So, without further ado, let's just jump into this episode of AEW Collision. We open up Collision this week where we have Tony Schiavone in the ring, and out comes Ricky Starks. So Ricky Starks cuts this very passionate and emotional promo where he talks about that, like a parent, there has to be consequences to your actions, and Ricky had to give Steamboat those consequences for costing him the match. And then Ricky goes on to talk about how AEW screws good wrestlers and people like him. And we come to find out because of his actions, he cannot wrestle, but he has a managerial license, so he can still be on AEW property. And so he's going to have to show the AEW locker room and the AEW universe what he is capable of to end the promo. I thought this was a hot start. I'm not too sure why Ricky can't wrestle for 30 days, and that I feel that kind of halts his momentum a little bit. But then, given the fact that he has faced CM Punk 3 different times in the last couple of weeks, I thought is fine. So him taking like a week or two off should be okay. I thought this was a hot start to the show, and Ricky Starks has become one of my personal favorites in AEW right now. And I know he's a heel, but I can't help but cheer for him because he's worked his butt off. And I'm excited to see what is next for Ricky. Next, we get a video package which basically outlines that and reminds everybody that FTR will be defending the AEW Tag Team Championships against the Young Bucks at All In. I hope that match is a slap fest. I hope it's a banger. Like, it should be good. Boy. I'm really excited, but I'm also a little afraid for All In, because if you're having these stellar matches, I'm afraid that we have nothing for All Out. And according to my calendar, if I look at it, All In for Wembley is in 3 weeks. Well, about 2 weeks, actually. And then All Out is in 3 weeks. So I'm not sure what we're doing to build for that, but we'll see what happens. But I'm excited for this match. Okay, y'all. So if you have seen our Ring of Honor review, you know that me and JVL are fans of the Iron Savages. And the fact that they were on Collision and they were taking on my other personal favorite tag team, the Acclaimed, was something I did not know I wanted on my wrestling bingo card, but I got it. And my God, was it awesome. I was a little surprised that they actually gave this match time, because usually big men matches don't usually go over so well. And the biggest thing is that I thought they were going to give it a lot of time, and I thought it was going to be typical, like big men have controlled the most of the matches, and then the Acclaim come out of nowhere. But this was a good back and forth. The Iron Savages during Max Caster's rap and just overselling the emotion is freaking hilarious, and I loved it so much. I thought this was a really fun tag team match. The Acclaim is working together as a duo now that Billy Gunn has retired, but they still carry around his boots, which is a nice nod. And their story right now is that they're working their way back up the tag team division, and they're going to show everyone that the Acclaim is still on top. This was an awesome match between them and the Iron Savages. Anthony Bowens is a star, doing all the chops and the kicks to get, Beefcake Bronner down to his knees and to be able to be smart that way. In-ring psychology. The fact that the Iron Savages have that big old tower spot where they walk in this huge tower to attack their opponents is great. But ultimately, both Max and Anthony Bowens, they hit a double fame asser on the Iron Savages to pick up the win for 1, 2, 3. This was a really fun match, and I am super excited to see the Acclaimed back. I hope that they eventually reach the top again of the tag team division. I would like to see them have another run, but only time will tell. They cut a really nice promo at the end where they honor Billy Gunn and they thank him and have the fans thank him. And it was a nice touching moment. Next, we get a backstage interview with Bullet Club Gold. Jay White is at the forefront of this promo where he says that, the Bullet Club is the most elite group on AEW, that some people think they are, but they're not. But Jay White and the Bullet Club Gold are going to show that why they are the best. So it seems that we're teasing some sort of Bullet Club Gold versus Elite match at All In. According to the wrestling reports, the rumored match is going to be Kenny Omega. Well, it's going to be Kenny and Kota Ibushi reunited. So it's the Golden Lovers and Hangman Page taking on Bullet Club Gold, which is going to be Jay White. It's going to be Jay White, Rock Hard Juice Robinson, and another Bullet Club Gold member. So who knows who that be? But I'm excited for this match. This one should be good. And so we're slowly teasing this match. And hopefully on Dynamite, that's what Kenny confirms his match at All In is going to be. The next match is our only women's match tonight, where we see Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander taking on Mercedes Martinez and Diamante. Y'all, this match was actually a lot of fun. It was a short, because it only went about 9 or 10 minutes, but you know what? I will take it. I still in agreement with my Dynamite co-host, JVL, where the women's division needs to be booked better. And honestly, I thought Chris and Willow were going to win because that's how they tend. This match was fun. Diamante going back to her Boricua badass persona and just flipping everybody off was hilarious. Mercedes Martinez throwing Diamante off like that was a little scary when she was falling, but she ended up being okay. It was fun. And the finishing sequence was kind of genius. So Mercedes has Willow pinned, but in order to prevent Willow from getting out of it, Diamante, while the ref can't see it, uses her feet. It was kind of botched a little bit, but I still thought it was okay. Diamante used her feet to kind of keep Mercedes down, to keep that leverage so Willow couldn't get out. And Mercedes Martinez and Diamante pick up the win here. I thought this match was fun. It sucks that Willow got pinned, but that's okay with me because you want to keep Chris looking strong. I just hope Willow doesn't become jobbed out to the women's division. But we're going to see Willow get her revenge on Diamante, as those two are going to face off next week on Collision. I still wish that the women's division was booked more than one match each week on Collision and Dynamite and Rampage, but it is what it is. And I still agree with JVL that the women's division needs to be booked better, Tony Khan. But this was a really fun match, and I don't know, man. The women being booked on Collision feels so different than how they're being booked on Dynamite. Though I have to give it more time to see if that's going to stay the trend. Next, we get a backstage interview. Once again, Toni Storm channeling her inner Marilyn Monroe diva-esque. Mackenzie. She's giving the interview, and she is trying to talk to Tony, and Tony is still a little distraught, but she's feeling a little bit better, and she knows that she is going to get back her title at All In. Mackenzie reminds her that Hikaru is in it, and then Tony gets upset, tells her to shut up, walks off stage, and the funniest thing about this promo is at the end, as Mackenzie is like, all right, guys, well, that's it for the interview. Toni Storm throws a freaking shoe at her. I was cackling. I was laughing. Oh my God, that was hilarious. I really enjoyed this diva-esque version. And this and this is going to be great. I hope Toni keeps his diva persona for a little bit because it's an added depth to her character, and I think this is a lot of fun to have. Next, we get a squash match where Samoa Joe takes on Andrew Everett. It's like 2 minutes, and basically what it is. Joe cuts a promo after the match and he states, Punk, I asked you nicely, but now I'm going to show you that you need to have this match with me. And I knew some shenanigans were going down in the main event match as soon as Joe cut this promo. And normally I don't like when wrestlers telegraph what's about to go down. But honestly, this one was okay because I was like, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but it's still going to be a good time. And we got what Joe was going to do in the main event later when we get there. To end hour one of Collision, Christian Cage comes out and cuts a promo. This was the segment that I felt like kind of went on a little too long to build up to serve its purpose. But Christian Cage basically runs down how he's the greatest champion and no one can beat him. And then all of a sudden, Arn Anderson with his son Brock Anderson come out. And Arn attempts to cut a promo, but it's not necessarily the best, which leads into a match for the TNT Championship between Brock Anderson and Luchasaurus. It basically is like a 5-minute squash match where Luchasaurus basically like runs Brock up and down the ring and like basically destroys him in the ring, and Luchasaurus retains his title. At this point, Darby Allin then comes out, he attacks Luchasaurus, and we set up a match between Darby and Christian Cage next week for Collision. This whole entire segment was so messy. I think Christian Cage is fun as a heel, but I feel like his little promo went on for too long. Arn Anderson also felt like he talked for a little bit too long. I know he's a legend, and because of where they at, this is the hallowed grounds for the Anderson family. But I feel that this whole segment was kind of off a little bit. It went on for too long. I feel like the match didn't really need to. I mean, it happened, but it wasn't really like, I don't think that it needed to be for the title, but it is what it is. I do appreciate that we got continuity because Luchasaurus attacked Darby on Rampage. So now Darby returns the favor on Collision. And we get a fun match next week, which further Darby's into this TNT Championship feud. It's kind of crazy that Darby is pulling double duty. He's getting this match at All In with Sting taking on AR Fox and Swerve. And then we're getting Darby versus Luchasaurus for the TNT Championship. So I'm kind of interested in the fact that Darby's booked for these two pay-per-views, but it is what it is, and we'll see what comes of it. We then get an in-ring interview where Tony Schiavone interviews Powerhouse Hobbs, and Powerhouse Hobbs basically says that everybody's going to get hurt, and the Book of Hobbs is going to be pain, and he calls out Miro, which made me really excited. So then Miro comes out with his theme music and everything, like he's ready to fight Powerhouse Hobbs, but Aaron Solo and Nick Comoroto intervene and beat down Miro and throw him into the ring, which allows Powerhouse Hobbs to hit him with the Spine Buster and then lay the Book of Hobbs book on top of him and leaves the ring. Again, if QT TV can stay off my screen, I'm okay with this. And I thought Nick Comoroto was in Ring of Honor, but it is what it is. I'm not going to complain about it because roster doesn't really matter across any of the brands. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, if this gives me Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs for a little bit, yes, I am here for it. Give it to me now. I just want to see Miro back on my television screen more and for him to wrestle. I'm really, really excited, and I hope this ends up being something fun. So then, surprisingly, we're like 45 minutes left of the show. We get the bumpers for all of Dynamite and Rampage and like everything. And a recap of the matches we have so far of All In. Like, I was like, what is happening? And then we get to the main event where we see the House of Black defending their AEW World Trios Championships against CMFTR. My God, this was my match of the night. I don't care what nobody says. This match slapped. Of course, it's FTR and House of Black is great. CM Punk and being thrown into the mix was an excellent choice. Some of my standout moments is, of course, when Brody King does the cannonball. It's so violent. The Meteora from Buddy Matthews was a thing of beauty to watch. And good job, cameraman. That camera angle was perfect with that happen. The sit down in the ring between Punk and Malachi Black. My goodness, this match was great. The fact that FTR hit the Shatter Machine on Brody King was nuts, you guys. This match was so good. It was given so much time. Like, I thought this was really excellent. And then, of course, The finishing sequence, we see Samoa Joe take out Punk and choke him out in the audience, but the ref doesn't see it. Julia Hart distracts Cash to allow for him to get pinned by the House of Black. And AEW, still your AEW World Trios Championships is the House of Black. As we go off air. So because Joe took Punk out of the equation, I'm sure that we're going to get official confirmation this upcoming week that it's going to be Samoa Joe versus Punk at All In. And I'm excited for this. Again, this match was phenomenal. This was my match of the night. I highly recommend everyone go out and watch this match. This was a lot of fun. And I don't know, man. Like, Collision, it just hits different. And I'm not sure why. But that is going to be it for the official review. The last thing I need to do is review this to kind of give a final rating for Collision this week. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it would have been a little bit higher, but the Christian Cage and Arn Anderson promo before that really short championship match kind of brought it down a little bit. Like, that was the worst part of this episode. Darby coming out and doing what he said to Luchasaurus kind of brought it up a little bit from a 7, but everything else was really solid. The women's match was a lot of fun. This main event fucking slapped, excuse my French. You know, Ricky Starks continues to prove that he is that guy and that he needs to be given more television time. Oh my goodness. Honestly, I am excited because Collision tends to be written differently, it seems. Like, the booking decisions, like, it's crazy. Again, the Christian Cage and Arn Anderson segment kind of brought it down a little bit, but my final rating for this week's AEW Collision is going to be a solid 8 out of 10. And that is going to be it for this Beat the Clock review for AEW Collision. If you enjoy this long-form review, make sure to check out the rest of our YouTube channel, where we have other long-form reviews of our TV weekly recaps, as well as the pay-per-views. We just did a SummerSlam review earlier in the week. And if you enjoyed that, make sure to take it out. We had our first official guest, Luis, on there, help us with the SummerSlam review, and that was fire and it's crazy. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and X at BC WrestlePods to stay up to date when all these videos go live, as well as some behind-the-scenes shenanigans. And if you enjoy something a little bit different, make sure to check out our Bi-Conics Wrestling Podcast, where all podcasts can be found, where we talk anything and everything wrestling. Make sure to hit that bell notification and subscribe to our YouTube channel to get alerts. Make sure you comment and share these videos with anybody you think would be interested in some random weirdos on the internet reviewing wrestling. But this has been your guest host, Mikey. From all of us here at the Bi-Conics, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and until the next review, adios, sayonara, and thanks for watching. See you later.